This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
And a good Tuesday afternoon, Larry Perotti, Nick Perotti in studios. We are ready to do that Wyoming Sports Talk Today thing. So let's tell you a little bit what's going on here. Our program is being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. Taco Tuesday today at all participating Taco John's. Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service on Highway 30. Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Dell Range, directly across from Menards. As I went over there, saw my good friends Ring City today. Also had a chat with Alexandria. Matter of fact, we're going to load up with some delicious Chick-fil-A tomorrow here in the building, weather permitting. Key of Cheyenne over on Nation Way, the lot full of 19s. Make sure you are taking a test drive and driving home the key of your dreams today at Key of Cheyenne. Platte Valley Bank times 2. East side location at the corner of College and Pershing. Of course, the original location of Vandeheim. Medicap Pharmacy right there in Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Red House. Saw my good friend Gene and the gang this afternoon over there at Medicap Pharmacy. Lennox Auto Body over on Dunn Avenue and the Auto Glass and Detail Center on Pershing Boulevard. First Tier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue. Right across the street, it's Mondello's Pizzeria, open 7 days a week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, weather permitting, as Mondello's Pizzeria is at 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. And we also want to thank Marv's Plumbing and Heating, 1515 Logan Avenue. We get things underway with our scoreboard. It's being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne with Nick starting things off.
NHL action, well, there is none tonight, unfortunately, as playoffs will get underway tomorrow. And also, too, on the local side, there is nothing going on. So for me, I get, at least for today, a break from the scoreboard.
Major League Baseball, bottom of the 8th inning in Boston. It's the Blue Jays leading the Red Sox 6-4 in that contest. Bottom of the 8th inning in Chicago, the Rays are on top of the White Sox 8-2. Cleveland and the Motor City Kitties of Detroit at Comerica. That is a final 8-2 with the Indians winning. Before we get off the air, it will be the Mariners at the Reds at Great American Ballpark, 5 o'clock hour, athletics, and the Orioles. Will Davis go over again? You never know. Nats and the Phillies, also the 5 o'clock hour, Twins and the Mets. Dodgers and the Cardinals at Busch, 6 o'clock hour, have the Yankees at the Astros. M's at the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. Rocks looking to snap their losing streak, especially at Coors Field, as they will host the Braves. It will be the Rangers at the Diamondbacks at Chase Field in Phoenix. Padres and the Giants again at Oracle. Let's see the Giants blow another 5-0 lead like last night. And the Brewers and the Halos will hook up at Angel Stadium of Anaheim. We gave you the NBA scoreboard or schedule. Of course, no games last night because of the national championship and the college national championship. So once again, Hornets, the Cavaliers, Grizz at the Pistons. It will be the Celtics at the Wizards, 76ers at the Heat. Knicks and Bulls in the United Center, Raptors, Timberwolves in the Target Center, Warriors, Pelicans at the Smoothie King Center, Suns, Mavericks in American Airlines Center, Nuggets and the Jazz. That's an important one for the Nuggets in Salt Lake City as they will be at the Vivint Smart Home Arena. Rockets and the Thunder in the Chesapeake Energy Arena. And again, the Trailblazers will take on the Lakers at Staples. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Hi, I'm Alex White, tea master at Pure Leaf. When I make tea, everything I know goes into it. You can't be impatient. When I craft Pure Leaf
or pvbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You count on Platte Valley Bank. Community banking for you.
Right now, it's time to head over to Jolly Rogers RV Sales, Parts, and Service for low prices on outstanding RVs in Wyoming. Your local, exclusive Jayco dealer wants you to check out their closeout deals, as well as their 2019 inventory of trailers, fifth wheels, and toy haulers. You can save up to 30% on select models with approved credit. You can find them at 6102 East Highway 30. Jolly Rogers RV Sales, Parts, and Service is a proud sponsor of LCCC men's and women's basketball, also our local high school teams too. Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast. Only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day at Windmill and Del Range.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be partly sunny with highs around 71 and winds out of the south at 10 to 15. For tonight, it'll be mostly cloudy with snow likely with lows around 35 and winds out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. On Wednesday, it'll be cloudy with snow likely with highs around 38 and winds out of the north at 15 to 20 miles per hour. And on Wednesday night, it'll be cloudy once again with snow likely with lows around 19 and winds out of the north at 25 to 30 miles per hour.
Fat, lazy, and stupid is no way to conduct a sports talk radio show. We've thrown down the gauntlet, upped the stakes, and made it clear that when it comes to sports talk radio in Cheyenne, there's a new player in town. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Larry Perotti along with Sonny Boyd, Nick Perotti, and we bring on our first guest, Mike Vazquez, who is the BYB Extreme Fighting Series president in the Sunshine State, where we get a chance to chat with him today, unlike here in Wyoming, where it's planning to be a blizzard.
Yeah, I was going to say, I doubt he even knows what snow is.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. But I'll tell you one thing, they got the BYB Extreme Fighting event in Cheyenne at the right time this past Saturday. Mike, thanks for joining us on the program today.
Yes, sir. It sounds like we got out of town just in time.
You got that right. Hey, let me ask you this question, Mike. Obviously, Nick will have more to say about it than me since he was at the event. But numbers, and again, you and me, I'm the owner, you're the president, so we got to be into the analytics of everything. Crowd attendance at the Cheyenne Iceland Event Center, and what have you found out about pay-per-view numbers? How would you deem the whole event?
Well, I'll tell you, on the venue, we had about 900 people in attendance, a little bit over 900. The pay-per-view numbers are not in yet, unfortunately. I've been hounding the in-demand people, but they're compiling data from various cable companies and satellite companies, so I do not have that. That's the $60,000 question there for me as well. But on attendance, we had about 900 guests of that night. The weather that day, I don't know if you remember, it was a little sprinkling in the afternoon. I know the roll call on ticket windows outside. I was honestly expecting a little bit more, but I was told that it was well above average for typical events held there in previous fighting events at least.
So, in your opinion, not too disappointed?
Correct. Not too disappointed. On the contrary, I think everybody who was there had a great time. I'd be interested in hearing your opinion if you were there. What you expected for or thought of the event, what you thought coming into the event, and compared to what you actually saw there. Our goal really was to provide exciting fights and knockouts, and I think we did just that.
Well, and again, for the pay-per-view for myself, where I was in attendance ringside, again, thank you to your organization and also to publicist Bob Trigger as well, too, reaching out to us and getting that all squared away. But for the pay-per-view, heading into this situation, again, we'll be up in front and honest with you, Mike, where here in the state of Wyoming, especially here in the city of Cheyenne, we've run into other organizations that have kind of fled town, put on kind of basically took their money and run, at least away from the city of Cheyenne, and put up questionable kind of organizations. But for this pay-per-view, though, again, in my opinion, it was not too bad. Again, it had its at least kind of that first sanctioned pay-per-view hiccups. We ran into, I do believe, a pulled fire alarm there at the Heisen Event Center. Also, too, again, the issue with the cage where, again, you had a whole lot of humanity heading toward that cage door that led to a fighter, at least on the ground there at the concrete of the Heisen Event Center. And then also, too, the main event that, fans were a little vocal at the end of what happened with the decision of it becoming a no contest. But, again, with my thoughts, Mike, on the pay-per-view, again, overall, it was not too bad. Again, out of the gates for the first pay-per-view for your organization start. Again, not a bad, at least, stepping stone for BYB. But for you, Mike, what was your opinion of the pay-per-view?
Well, I was asked this by one of our guys here on the team. I'd give us a B or a B plus for the event overall. The fire alarm that went off was one of those things. The ambulance was actually parked close to one of the doors that had the sensor, CO2 sensor, and apparently the exhaust. The ambulance, by law, I think, has to keep the ambulance running in case there's some emergency or whatever, to keep all the stuff inside, all the equipment active. So those fumes are what set off the fire alarm. Fortunately, it happened after a bout and not during a bout. And we were able to, which we had planned anyway, we did one preliminary fight before the 8 o'clock card opened, and we were going to inject that into the fight and do an intermission so people can get off, go get some beer, buy a T-shirt, the camera guys can get down and go to the restroom and whatnot. So it actually happened just about when we were going to take an intermission. The only reason it delayed a little bit was because it powered everything down, and some of our software and broadcast team had to reboot in order to inject that fight in. So there was a few minutes there from when that went dark to the time that we were able to, get that prelim fight on the broadcast.
And again, it wasn't your fault, though, again, explaining that, again, with the Heisen Event Center. We've seen it with the local hockey team where they've dealt with power issues out there. Again, the venue is not the, you hate to put it down, but it's not the best, at least across the nation. It does have its flaws. But for you, Mike, again, as we talk about that, as you mentioned, a B or B plus for that pay-per-view. But, looking at this pay-per-view, looking at the crowd, looking at the numbers so far that were in attendance here, the big question, again, I'll kind of lead into with this one for you, Mike, is we've seen the other organizations, whether they have folded or whether they have kind of tucked away and gone away from the state of Wyoming, or especially here in the city of Cheyenne. But, we've talked with Dada, we talked with Jose, at least leading up to this pay-per-view fight. It happened. Here it is. We got some of the numbers, especially here in town. But what is your opinion? Is BYB Extreme Fighting Series still looking at returning back to the state of Wyoming, and more specifically here to the cap city of Cheyenne?
Yeah, absolutely. We are working. We actually went to see another venue that's under construction there, just about 10 minutes outside of downtown. It's a new kind of convention center that's being built on the motocross. The property has a lot of acreage and motocross and a bunch. I forget the name of the facility right now. You may be aware of it. It's just 10 minutes right outside the city, and it'll probably about 4,000 to 6,000 people there, with grandstands that are movable, and it's going to be a better venue, to draw out more people. We actually had with us there a PBR star, Cole Livingston, who actually was with us for the event, and he left. He flew at 6 a.m. the next morning. He was there until midnight, till we closed, and he left at 6 a.m. on a plane to Bakersfield via Phoenix, jumped on I don't know how many bulls while he was out there, won the PBR event in Bakersfield, California, and we've been invited back to the Cheyenne event. The PBR will be having, I believe it's in June of this year. So I know we'll be back over there. Now, the event itself, we're timing our next event more likely with the release of Dogfight, the movie Dogfight 2. Which was being taped there while we were there. It's if you're familiar with the first Dogfight, it was all about Dada 5000 in the original backyard. Dogfight 2 was us getting involved with Dada and kind of cleaning up the backyard, polishing that diamond in the rough to create the Trigon and everything else, along with Dada's fight at Bellator a couple of years ago. And the end of Dogfight 2 is actually this event in Cheyenne. where they filmed everything from the Plains Hotel, downtown, all over the city, including the event, and done some fighters. So that, I'm working with the producers of that movie to see when they're finished editing and release, because we'd like to benefit from that exposure. That's the first dogfight had millions of views on Netflix, nationally and internationally, and we'd like to kind of piggyback. So I'm hoping to be back out there between August and October. Not sure exactly when yet, but we will return to Cheyenne. We're loyal people. We're good to those that are good to us, and really the Wyoming Boxing and MMA Board, Brian, Jeremy, Nick, all the guys there have really been fantastic. And the people there, the hospitality that we received, all the small companies that were able to maybe not sponsor largely, but did some trades with us, and just very supportive. So we're definitely going to be back to Wyoming, and more likely than not, Cheyenne.
We're talking with Mike Vazquez, BYB Extreme Fighting Series president. Mike, a couple of questions here, then we need to take a break. First question would be from me, boxers' reaction to the fan support here in Cheyenne. Did you get any feedback from the boxers?
Yeah, I mean, everybody really had a great time. It was funny. We had some guys that we had to separate throughout the week. We didn't want the same guys to be in the same place, the same van, because they were going to be in a fight the next day. But after the event, we really had a great time there at the Plains Hotel. We went to the Cadillac Ranch first. A lot of the guys did, and had a great time. Then they came back to the Plains Hotel where we were staying, and also just continued on. The camaraderie between these warriors is incredible. As soon as the fight's over, everybody who'd been talking trash, gave their competitor a hug. It's just incredible in combat sports, really, the camaraderie that's, between men and women, I should say.
Mike, second part of the question, and you mentioned this talking about the venue itself. Has there been a thought of trying to put this event on outside? Now, again, some of the venues that we have outside are probably just as tough to maneuver through. The one that would come to mind would be Frontier Park, and you'd have to go through Cheyenne Frontier Days. But my point being, have you thought of some type of outside venue, especially when you mentioned you're coming back around August, September? That's probably about our best weather months.
Yeah, we have, and we've noticed. We really got to look at humidity, and I'll tell you why. I don't think there's much humidity up there, but I've seen outdoor events that have gone wrong, particularly in MMA fights where there's no shoes, a slippage. A few years ago, NASCAR. I worked with NASCAR for about 15 years, and we did a co-promotion with another fight company before I started BYB. And there were some events that were done outside at the racetracks in the evening, and unfortunately, the dew, and these were in Florida now, so we got a lot of humidity. The dew that comes up on the canvas was presenting a problem, for the MMA fighters that weren't wearing, proper footwear and whatnot. But yeah, we are definitely looking at that. We're looking at different options. Frontier Days is a spectacular event there for the city of Cheyenne, and I know PBR is real. That's one of the top events on their list. So we're looking at, if we can't do it, obviously it's very close this year to our event, but we would like to time something next year around the Frontier Days, since there's so many people in town looking for other things to do and whatnot. So we're creating an alliance there with the guys from the PBR. I mean, geez, the toughest people in the world have got to be fighters and bull riders. I mean, if I give all the respect in the world to any man or woman that climbs into a ring or a cage, but when they're on top of a ton or 2 ton animal that's literally trying to gouge your eyes out and stomp you and all that, much respect to those guys as well.
Gotta like it. Bull riding and boxing, a beautiful combination now here in the city of Cheyenne.
Yeah, that we could put a card together with that. Hey, Mike, hang on with us. I know you're going to be venturing off here, but give us a couple of minutes. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come right back. I know Nick's got some more stuff to ask you, and we'll be right back after these words here on 1480 KRAE. Join in for a festive evening of fun, food, and a live auction in Cheyenne on Monday, May 6th at the historic Little Bear Inn, which is sponsoring the Love Never Forgets Gala to benefit the Wyoming 10 years ago, the Department of Defense selected High West Energy to provide electricity on F.E. Warren Air Force Base. For a decade, we have been proud to work hand in hand with the Air Force leadership to ensure we provide the base with the affordable, reliable power it needs to be an economic driver for the region and serve a vital national security interest for this country. High West Energy, the best choice, the local choice, the right choice for you.
Hi, this is Trooper Testerman with the Wyoming Highway Patrol. Weather experts have predicted extreme blizzard conditions Wednesday through Thursday evening. We recommend that you stay at home, but if you must travel, be prepared to use alternate routes and ensure you carry essential items in your vehicle, such as a shovel and cold weather gear, along with food and water. Charge your cell phone before leaving the house, and if you get stuck, clear the area around your exhaust pipe. Call for help and stay with your vehicle until help arrives. Please check wyoroad.info for closures. Slow down, buckle up, and plan ahead.
Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast, only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day at Windmill and Del Range.
Are you looking for a pharmacist who will actually take the time to talk to you? Then come to Medicap Pharmacy. We're dedicated to healthcare only, which means we'll fill your prescription quickly, and then we'll make time to listen, answer your questions, explain your prescriptions, and tell you about possible drug interactions.
Medicap Pharmacy will always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
We're taking Cheyenne, Wyoming Sports Talk Radio to a whole new level. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
Don't look at me. I think these people are completely nuts.
Stop this crazy thing!
And it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
We're back on Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Larry Perotti, Nick Perotti, Mike Vazquez, BYB Extreme Fighting Series president, joining us live from Florida this afternoon. Mike, you know, and I'm not disrespecting this. Please don't take this wrong. Like WWE, sports entertainment can go night after night after night. That's how they book venues. In your situation, when you have an event such as the BYB, how long do you have downtime before you try to put on the next event? Because obviously you want the boxers to heal up and get ready for the next, quote, pay-per-view, next venue that they're going to be heading to.
Right. Initially, for our first few runs, we'd like to have an event every quarter, one about every 90 days. That's as we ramp up. You know, there's a lot of course, expenses in building something, getting the name out there. You lose a lot. Just like any business, pretty much, you have to invest until you get to a break-even point down the line. So we want to be smart about our dollars. We don't have, you know, the backing that some of the major companies, promotional companies have. We've had interest in people investing in our company, but we also don't want to minimize, you know, our participation in the company just to try to be fast, try to be big so fast, right? So we're growing into it. We're working with fighters. We created well-matched cards. You know, the fighters that we're giving, and part of our whole process was to give more fighters a chance. You know, it's just like I came from a NASCAR background, and you have the same drivers over and over again, just being recycled from one team to another team, and it's very hard to give those young drivers and other talented drivers opportunities. And I see that happening in the fight game as well, where they're coming from one series to another series to another series to another series. Meanwhile, so many young guys that are very talented. Look at Matt Delanoy, for example. He fought Jake Young. It was a clash in styles. It was a brawler against a kickboxer. Kickboxer came out of the gates and was really taking it to Matt. Matt, you know, wow, I don't know if you remember that knockout. That was right before the main event. It was the co-main event. I think it was a knockout not only of the night, but maybe of the year. Guys like that we want to give opportunities. Guys like Alberto Speedy Martinez, who was undefeated in the Air Force ranks. and put on a great show. Also had a first-round TKO. Chris Stanley Knuckles and her fight against Latoya. These are names that you don't see. You haven't seen them in some of the other bigger categories, but they're great fighters. They put on a great show, and it's our position that we got to give those people opportunities to show their skills and show their talent and grow. Will we bring other name fighters? Yeah, we will need to, because that's what the fan base, they're used to seeing those names and hearing those names and whatnot. So we want to do a little bit of a mix of that, but we don't want to just recycle the same old fighters from other series and introduce them here. We kind of want to give other guys opportunities.
We're looking at the future template as well, too, for BYB, at least for what could happen for this organization in future pay-per-views. Something that we saw in Showcase there at Cheyenne Ice at Event Center was at least a branded title belt, and at least understanding that championship matches could be at least coming in the future. But, how long do we have to wait to see for BYB to be putting on championship fights, at least on their pay-per-view events?
Right, that would be next year. We want to have at least 2 to 3 additional events where we're introducing new fighters along with some of the guys that you saw on the first card, and kind of at the end of this year develop rankings for next year, and then set those fights up where there'll be 2 events prior to the championship round. So there'll be the winners from this first event will fight some new guys. The loser from this first event may fight some other guys, and we'll continue to develop rankings with the support of the UBC. I don't know if you got a chance to see the belt that the UBC had created for BYB Balls, but it's absolutely incredible. And all the fighters there would wanted to take it home, and that's what we're working towards. So we're developing. I know other series is literally on their first fight they had championship belts, and that's just not the way it should work, to be honest with you. So we're developing more of a series aspect where we'll develop the rankings and then go into the championship rounds in 2020.
Mike, looking at BYB, and again, I'm seeing, as we're getting those upstarts, as they're, showing that they're not ready to be in prime time, such as BYB Extreme Fighting. Let me ask you this question: as I look back in the old boxing days, WBA versus WBC, we go with the old Don King versus Bob Arum days. Tell me what BYB is going to be as far as different from these rival organizations. Tell me what's going to make you stand out from everyone.
Well, 2 things. We're staying away from the politics, like you said. Back in the day, fans couldn't get the fights they wanted because the different promoters had different politics, and they had fights would take 2 and 3 years longer than the what they needed. Look at the Pacquiao Mayweather fight, for example, when it finally happened compared to when it should have happened, and that was all promoters and politics and all that. The other thing that really stands out for us is our Trigon cage. It's our position really that shorter, quicker fights are less dangerous for fighters and boxers than the longer, prolonged fights that go 10 and 12 rounds with heavy, weighted gloves. If you look at a regular boxing match, for example, it's usually 600 to 700 punches thrown, 400 to 500 punches landed, 200 or 300 of those to the head. If you look at our bare knuckle fights, I don't think any fight had more than 50 punches thrown. And there were tons of knockouts, whereas the other ones, they'll go 10, 12 rounds. There won't be a knockout. You got a fighter just being punished with, jabs and jabs and jabs, and you don't see the damage because it's internal. It's concussive. In our bare knuckle fights, and with the Trigon, that you can't really run around, you got to fight. You're in that center of the cage, and you are going toe-to-toe against another competitor. If you back up from the action, you're going to put yourself in one of those tight corners. So really our whole project is to give resolution to the event, keeping the results in the hands of the fighters and not the judges. And basically the only of the boxing matches that went to the judges was because of an accidental eye poke. And that fight, if it would have gone another, few seconds, I think would have ended up in another TKO or KO, to be honest with you. So that's what we're trying to do is really, there was another bare knuckle event. They do 2-minute rounds. but most of those fights go the full 5-minute rounds, and the guys end up looking like hamburgers. It's just a lot of pounding. So what we've done is we've extended from 2 minutes to the full 3-minute rounds. And as a result, I don't think we had one fight that went past the third. We didn't have one fight that went past the third round. Many were in first round, second round. Only one of the bare-knuckle fights went to the third round. And again, they were all settled by the fighters, except for the accidental eye poke.
Final thought before we let you go here, and we want to thank you for joining us today, and do appreciate you bringing the event to Cheyenne, and we wish you continued success. One of the things that you had mentioned early in our conversation, with this thing taking off now, and again, hopefully it moves into third and fourth gear. Sponsorships, as you mentioned, big sponsors, whether it's a beer company, whether it's a restaurant chain, whatever the case may be. Are you starting to get nibbles at the door right now, people saying, hey, we want to attach our name to this?
Absolutely. We had a title sponsor, Pure Natural, getpurenatural.com, which is a CBD product, pharmaceutical-grade CBD. That was our title sponsor for this event. They've actually signed to be our title sponsor for the next 2 years in all our events. We've had a number of smaller companies that have jumped on board, Kick to Go Water and several others. But we are working on like I said, we're getting some nibbles, and now that we have the product in the can, coming out of the gates, when you're saying this is our first event, you really have nothing to show other than the backyard fights that we were known for. So now that there's a product, now that they see the cage, now that they see the production, the lighting, the professionalism, and I've had everybody from the Wyoming Boxing and MMA Commission, fighters who have fought in all the fight series across, tell us that it was incredible for our first show, that it looked like we had 10 or 12 years experience behind us, with the way they were treated, the way that the production went, and so forth. So we're excited now that we have that fight in the can, that we can show it. We can show it to potential sponsors. We can show it to others. And continue to grow.
Mike, we want to thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to the next event that gets here in Cheyenne.
Well, I thank you guys. Thank the city of Cheyenne, the state of Wyoming. You guys have been great. We really look forward to coming back and doing it again.
All right, take care. Mike Vazquez, BYB, Backyard Boxing Extreme Fighting Series president, joining us here on 1480 KRAE, and thank you to Nick to getting that arranged with us for us this afternoon with Mike. Again, I know he's a busy guy, and
we'll take a break and at least gather our thoughts, or at least kind of analyze of what Mike had to say. And again, on my end, it's all positive, or at least not a whole lot of negatives around this organization. I
wasn't trying to make anything negative.
No, I wasn't either, but I'm just saying, that's why I want to get Mike on and get his thoughts, see what was the, at least, opinion of what happened this past Friday, and just kind of let everything lie out there in front of the public. But again, where I talked about before this pay-per-view, third time's a charm, it sounds like this is that charm right now. This is that organization that you can back. This is an organization that does have their act together. This is an organization that's not going to up and fold, kind of like what happened up in Casper, or the other organization that runs with controversy and tucks tail and moves out of the state.
And obviously, too, again, like you said, we got to get to the break, but one of the things that they probably did was their homework. On the first event here, the event up in Casper, and again, going, hey, we got to do this. What that wasn't done here. They saw the non-payments, and they said, we can't do that. We got to pony up.
We're not going to offer.
We got to pony up some cash. We're going to have to go into the reserves here and make sure that everybody's taken care of. We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back with more after these words here at 1480 KRAE.
Hop into the KRAE Time Machine each Monday through Thursday for the golden age of radio, featuring famous radio classics such as Jack Armstrong and Suspense Theater, along with pioneers in the entertainment industry like Bob Hope and Abbott and Costello, along with many other performers who've captured our ears many, many years ago. Join us for the golden age of radio Monday through Thursday, 8 until 10 p.m. on 1480 KRAE, also 101.1 FM, and you can also stream all of our programming on 1480KRAE.com.
Why do we work all hours of the night? Head towards challenges instead of turning away, and work together to solve the toughest problems so you can enjoy the little things. and all the big moments life has to offer. Tri-State and High West Energy. Brighter, stronger, better together.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Emergencies can happen anytime, and Mars Plumbing and Heating, 1515 Logan Avenue, available 24/7, is here to take care of them in the quickest possible manner. Mars Plumbing and Heating provides the highest quality service for all your plumbing and heating needs. So if you need bathroom remodeling or a commercial heating contractor for your latest building project, Mars Plumbing and Heating will provide you with the most dependable service at a reasonable price. You can always count on Mars Plumbing and Heating. Give them a call at 316-7634. That's 316-7634.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be partly sunny with highs around 71 and winds out of the south at 10 to 15. For tonight, it'll be mostly cloudy with snow likely with lows around 35 and winds out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. On Wednesday, it'll be cloudy with snow likely with highs around 38 and winds out of the north at 15 to 20 miles per hour. And on Wednesday night, it'll be cloudy once again with snow likely with lows around 19 and winds out of the north at 25 to 30 miles per hour.
You bleed brown and gold? So do we. Wyoming Cowboys football and basketball is always front and center on the show. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's here on AM 1480 KRAE.
In their venues there. That's some good BYB extreme music.
Holy Diver by Ronnie James Dio. The late Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah. Late. We were talking about a lot of late artists today over on our sister station.
Anyways, though, regarding BYB, just to kind of break down at least everything about Mike.
Let me say this right out of the box. For them to be a little successful, and I think what they need to do, and again, this was kind of the trial balloon here in Cheyenne. Yeah, they've had events, but bringing their game out here, where, yeah, we are starved for entertainment, and our dollars are there if we want to spend them. But I also think too, what they need to put in their back pocket, Nick. And again, now you're going to listen to the radio guy here. They need to put some advertising. They need to do some marketing. Whether it's, and again, I don't care if it's the paper, whether it's us, anybody else, the TV station, they need to, again, let's look at Cheyenne Frontier Days. They're all over the place right now. Marketing, because they want full venues when that event happens. Same thing, too. I think these guys, not so much that you're going to find the best deal here, which you probably will, but my point is, though, you need to put X here, X there, and you need to get everybody excited about this event.
I guess that's up for your sales staff to at least get that done. But again, we're 900 butts in seats. Again, it was not a full sellout. There was plenty of spacing there at the Ice and Event Center. Again, a lot of concrete to be filled that weren't even with chairs. Kind of used as walkways almost. But either way, though, again, was not a sellout, but at least they were happy with what numbers did show up there at the Ice and Event Center. Interesting, though, breaking down Mike's comments about returning back to the city of Cheyenne. Well, he's going to return back to this area, but he kind of alluded to it, or at least he forgot the name of it, but it sounds like he's heading out to not the upcoming convention center that has not been built, but more so the Archer Complex, and once that gets all squared away, so they're going to at least sound like move away from the Ice and Event Center, which, again, in our opinion, and where we've talked about many times, we've dogged on that event center, probably the best to get out of there where you're not going to run into goofy things where you're going to have power issues or fire alarms are going to go off or anything like this, because just how cheaply built that place is. But they've said, hey, we're committed. We enjoy the city of Cheyenne. We like the community here. We got full backing and support. We're going to come back not to that place, but instead we'll head out to the Archer Complex. And I think for them, again, where it's going to see a lot more, they can offer a lot more tickets. It's going to get, bring up even more notoriety for BYB, have it out there, and again, see if that grows into an even bigger thing where you can pull from the Denver market, or you can go and look over to Nebraska to see if Scotts Bluff or something like that comes on out. Either way, though, again, it was good to hear that it didn't put a sour taste in their mouth, but they realized, hey, there's other options around the area. Instead, to keep it here in southeast Wyoming, well, we'll just go in the county instead.
And again, obviously, the Laramie County Commissioners more willing to open up the gates over there. And again, this is not completed yet out there at the Archer Complex. Yeah, there are some things in place, but the big venue is not really full blown yet to host an event such as this. But and again, as we go back to our conversation that we had last week with Eric Fountain, and again too, corners were cut on the Ice and Event Center, and even with Mark Lance, and again too, your limit in crowd first and foremost. And again, too, depending where they put the triangle, because again, I wasn't there.
I mean, all you can do is kind of center stage.
Was all the GA seats a very good viewpoint for the triangle?
I would think so. Again, I wasn't in those kind of back rows. Wasn't high up, at least up top, at least in those stands, especially where you do have those big poles that kind of obstruct certain views and certain angles. But again, on the floor, probably not a bad area. Again, rigging was not in the way of the cage, or at least to see the fights. But again, I was sitting ringside, so at least to say, hey, that was my angle. My angle was not too bad, clearly, but from those who were high up top, or at least in the fringe outside, where basically what they did is they put it smack dab in the center where center ice would be. There at the Ice Event Center. They had a little walkway by the kind of benches there, so no seating there. Instead, they had seating basically to the east and west of that cage, or at least from one point where the goal would be to another point of the goal, and then the stand. So, configuration was not too bad, but again, was it bad seating wherever in the Ice and Event Center? Probably, because again, we know the limitations there.
Well, see, the thing is that this is what hurts us here in our part of the world, is that we don't have, quote, the bona fide arena.
Oh, no.
Now, again, Frontier Days has the arena, but that's an outdoor venue. But
you can use, 3 months of the year maybe, if?
You could use,
especially where, again, he's talking about moisture and all that.
I know,
where,
but
again,
you can use it from about.
You would have those, again,
thunderstorms.
It's a late night. It's a late night thing. You're not doing it early in the morning. Right. So, again, you're going to run into those thunderstorms.
I would say your best times out there, temperature-wise, are about June through mid-October.
Well,
and after that, it's kind of a crapshoot. But again, where we don't offer the arena setting, that's what we need. It's too bad we don't. And again, I'm gonna use just the venue at Casper. Excuse me, at Gillette, when I was there at Gillette College. I mean, again, that's an arena where that would have been a perfect setting right there on that floor for that type of event, because every seat in that arena.
Yeah.
That they build, and again, it's a mini college basketball arena. That would have been perfect for that type. They also have the complex.
I was going to say, Gillette's a lot brighter on things where, again, they know how to take care of their facilities. They know how to, and again, they got the monies and funds up there.
They had a lot of control money. So let's not,
No, that's why I'm just saying again. But also too, they know how to take care of their. Again, they look to improve those facilities.
Well, and they obviously look ahead towards the future. We're still not futuresque here in this part of the world. In Cheyenne, Wyoming, we're not.
It's clearly still the Old West downtown.
It's where the pavement meets the Old West. It's still cowboy thinking. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. Because if you want to go see something really spectacular, you'll drive down the road 100 miles to the Pepsi Center, or you'll go to
Budweiser.
Yeah, the Budweiser Event Center in Loveland. So again, we have dropped the ball in my 33 years here. Not once, not twice, numerous times. And again, the Ice and Event Center first coming out as the Icon Center, which had some good, good people threw some good money at it. But then after a while, that good money was like, this is a waste of money. I want my money back. And then the city absorbed it and tried to get some corporate backing. Nobody wants to have anything to do with it. It's a losing venue.
And the one entity that does want to at least occupy and at least try to at least bring some revenue.
They're becoming the scapegoat. Like, hey, you need to pay for it. And it's like, hey, no, you should be paying them to use the venue because they're actually keeping the lights on.
Yeah,
so,
hard to believe that people are using it for laser tag. I was surprised that that's even still going there at the Ice and Event Center. But either way, though, at least kudos to BYB, though, staying true and showing commitment to come back to the city of Cheyenne. Again, obviously, it's better, said than hopefully it will be done. Again, as they alluded to, not going to be happening here in the city limits per se, which I think is probably best, especially for them to grow this entity and have a better venue and again bring in better, at least personnel, at least bring in more fans, so to speak, at that Archer complex. We'll see what happens, whether they do it there, if they do an outdoor at least event at the at Frontier Park. We'll see what happens. But again, going back to the pay-per-view. Not bad. It had its kinks to work out. Again, where cage door flying open with about 300 pounds of fast momentum going towards that door, where the one fighter in the MMA and super heavyweights eventually fell down the stairs and at least.
Now you say it came ajar. I mean,
it swung. Okay, I don't know what.
It's not locked like a cage match for the WWE.
Basically, it's one of those sliding mechanisms where again it goes at least.
And it's supposed to bolt lock.
It wasn't even a bolt lock. It was. Something that BYB definitely needs to alter to make sure, because for the rest of the pay-per-view, they just had two, at least, look like trainers or at least medical staff perched up against the doors to kind of make sure they don't swing open again. So that would be something that they need to alter. Again, where the no contest in what happened in that main event, again, the heavyweight, at least bare knuckle fight in that one, again, it was a finger poke to the eye, according to at least Wyoming state rules, or at least the MMA and boxing rules, where competitor can't compete or at least go on due to an illegal blow. It's just deemed as a no contest. That put a sour taste in the mouth of fans there to kind of end out that night. Obviously, again, you can't do anything about that if you're BYB, but something where you got to prepare for something like that as well to make sure, hey, it doesn't happen, so it doesn't put that sour taste in fans' mouth.
You always expect the unexpected. I mean, that's the bottom line. Now, again, too, I don't know what you can do with the triangle, because, I don't know if you can lock it or not, because I don't know if there's safety violations that are, imposed there, because you got, like you said, like medical staff needs to have quick access in there.
Well, and that's what it looked like it was, but it was just a rigging mechanism where you just kind of, again, how to describe it, I don't know what, lock it is, but basically you swing into at least lock and then you push down the entity. Again, it's something where when you got that big of mass heading that fast towards that cage door, it's going to unhinge, and it's going to at least allow those fighters to spill on out, which it did for the one fighter who eventually hit the concrete floor there at the Ice and Event Center. So, other than that, though, first pay-per-view, not a bad launching point. This is an organization, though.
It also puts us on the map, too, if you think about it.
Well, in something that we've talked with Brian Pedersen, at least when we had him in about last year, when we got this whole bare-knuckle thing starting here in the state of Wyoming, it was something where his goal, and he's kind of pushed that along of saying, hey, let's put Cheyenne on the map to bring people out here to move out here. Will that happen? I highly doubt it. But it's good in theory, and especially with the Netflix series where it's going to showcase off Cheyenne, show the downtown, show the plains, as much as maybe hopefully they edit out some of downtown Cheyenne that is empty, as I talked with a few folks that they realize, hey, downtown's a little sparse right now, but hopefully they do edit that out. Again, tongue-in-cheek joke, but for the city of Cheyenne, though, it hopefully does put us on the map. This organization does it, but also, too, going back to what I originally talked about with BYB Extreme, this is that third time's a charm. For me, seeing this event,
did they pass the litmus
I think
test?
absolutely.
Okay.
I think absolutely.
So
I think this is the true first organization that's come to the state of Wyoming that has legitimacy, that knows what they're doing, shows professionalism, is not at least caught up in legalities, is not caught up in any lawsuits, is not overpromising anything, is not folding, is not cheating anyone out of monies. It is a professional organization that came to town, put on a good pay-per-view. Fans did show up, and again, they understand the respect that the city showed to them, and they're going to show it right back and say, "Hey, we're gonna come back and do it again for you."
So let me ask you this question, because really, this actually sets a lot of things in motion. The motion part for me would be that the city, would need to get something cooking in a venue, needing to build a venue separate of Cheyenne Frontier Days, separate of the Ice and Event Center.
Well, it depends on what happens with that convention center.
They need a multi-use venue. Okay,
I don't trust the city to do anything with that.
I'm sorry, I got to throw that out there.
I'm just saying, I'd rather have private try it once again. But
wait a minute. Now, then you go on to the government. You go to the county, which again, where we approved via Laramie County vote, we approved monies to build the Laramie County Fair. Laramie County Fair does not want to be here. Not that they don't like Frontier Park, but hey, they want their own identity out there at Archer.
That's fine.
So they're building their venue out there. Okay.
And their venue is getting nice. Clearly, as Mike said, it caught their attention and they want to go there.
Then we have the upcoming convention center. But 2020, right? If I'm not mistaken, that would be coming into play.
It was 2021. Yeah, somewhere in there, but yeah.
Okay, but
years from now.
We'll see that coming up here over the next couple of years. So what I'm driving at is that are the citizens of Cheyenne ready to pony up? Because again, city can only come up with so many ways of, spending money. They're going to ask us to foot the bill. So again, is the city ready to pony up to the bar and build that type of venue?
I think the easy answer to that, and we saw it with a few votes, and again, going back to the infamous caller that we had either last week, I do believe, but where I think, are the citizens, is the city ready to pony up for something like that, to bring in, at least put the city truly on the map and bring eyes and ears and people to this city to build here? I think the simple answer is no. I really don't think so.
Well, your answer is no, but again, too, the younger folks of Cheyenne, not the Larry Proettis and above, and me, I would probably go, let's build this venue, because I know we need it, but it's got to be a multi-purpose. Again, it's got to be used for, boxing. It's got to be used, I'll just throw hockey in there. It's got to be used for basketball. It's got to be used for concerts. It's got to be.
It's got to rival the event center. It really does. It's something where I think for the Cap City, where we are deemed as the largest city here in the state of Wyoming, it is something that has to be better than the event center. It has something that it is multi-purpose that can foot, whether, again, we bring in monster truck, or we bring in, again, where the Stampede could play out there, where you can do arena football if you wanted to, where we've tried that before, where, again, you could host regional tournament basketball, or you could host state tournament basketball here in the city of Cheyenne.
But it also doesn't have to be 8,000 seats either, because we're seeing in Casper, it's not paying for itself.
No.
So again, do we?
Well, the thing is, you got to be smart about this. And again, do I trust the city of Cheyenne and that Parks and Rec department, or at least officials in charge of setting all that up to make sure that it is done correctly? Again, simple answer, no. I would not trust them. It is something where I would rather have private sector do it. But again, we saw what happened with the Ice and Event Center. So it is kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't right now, especially here for the city of Cheyenne. But I think, though, again, the ultimate goal is to get the city on the map where, hey, we're trying to get jobs out here. We're giving new opportunities, boost at least the economic here in the city of Cheyenne. You got to spend money to make money.
Well, and also too, and here's the thing, and this is Larry, speaking that he spoke for the last 32 years. You want to keep your dollars here.
Yeah.
If you want your dollars to float outside of the city, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. Because if you say no to certain things, it's going to go elsewhere, which it has. And guess what?
It goes down south.
And guess what? We venture down south. So if we want to continue giving our money, it's just like I mentioned when we said our little interview, you got that corporate down there in Fort Collins. You want to send your money down to Loveland, to Centerra, go ahead. That's your deal. But if you want
they'll benefit off of it, and you won't.
If you want to keep your dollars here in Cheyenne with a possibility, and I think you made a very good point, yes, additional jobs. Yeah. And I know Cheyenne is not hurting for jobs because, everywhere you look, somebody's looking for somebody, some type of help.
There's always new businesses popping up, whether it's fast food or something.
But again, too, something that could be built nice, a multi, complex venue, I think is probably in the offing. But again, the citizens of Cheyenne, and again, if you're going to put a vote through Laramie County, I think you may have problems. But if you make it a Cheyenne venue, I think you might have a shot. Just my opinion.
We'll see.
All right, we need to take a time out. Get ready for hour number 2. We'll be back after these words on 1480 KRAE.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
It is hour number 2 of Wyoming Sports Talk Today. We have a lot of thank yous, so we start things off by saying thank you very much. Grazie to Mars Plumbing and Heating at 1515 Logan Avenue. They're there 24/7 for you. Mondello's Pizzeria, 7 days a week. They're there for you, serving up delicious Paisan cuisine. Joe, he's been doing this for a long time here in Cheyenne. And again, he knows what you like, and he always prepares it fresh for you all the time. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. First Tier Bank, directly across the street at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, open Monday through Friday. Again, offering on a 27-month CD. Annual percentage yield right now, 3.10%. Lennox Auto Body, the main auto and truck repair center over on Dunn Avenue. The Auto Glass and Detail Center you will find over on Pershing Boulevard. A quarter century they have been serving you and me here in our area. And again, family-owned, family-operated Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center. Medicap Pharmacy, for all your pharmaceutical needs with your doctor's prescription. Gene, his great staff will take good care of you. And again, a lot of familiar faces always over at Medicap Pharmacy. They have been there for a long, long time. Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. Platte Valley Bank ×2. Again, banking done the old-fashioned way. You, me, we like to go up to the counter and chat with the nice folks there. You can do it that way. You want to get into the high-tech banking way like Nick? You can do it that way. They offer all banking and in between as well at Platte Valley Bank on Vanda High and at the corner of College and Pershing. Key of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. They want your pre-owned vehicle. Bring it in. Take a test drive. Maybe you want to check out the few remaining 18s on the lot. Go for it. You're going to find some sensational savings right now. Also, you're going to find some good deals as well on the 2019s that are on the lot today. See my good friend AJ and the crew over at Key of Cheyenne on Nation Way. Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Del Range. I always do a little thank you to the gang for all they did during the basketball season. And I went over today and I thought of Chick-fil-A and
football as well too.
And football, and I thought of Chick-fil-A and I said, you know what, these guys are going to love it. And Ray and Cindy and Alexandria, Alex, they are going to put together I'm telling you, they're going to put a banquet together for us tomorrow. And again, thank you to my good friends over there at Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Del Range, right across from Menards. Now, let me say this.
If they even make it to work, and if we can even make it due to, again,
blizzard
warning tomorrow.
I'll be here. My point is, though, with Chick-fil-A, always think of them, too. They do special events. So, again, if you ever need them to cater, go online, CheyenneChicken.com. Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service, again, unloading the 18s right now. So, again, you're going to find some great savings over at Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service over on Highway 30. The 19s are on the lot as well, too, and they are offering some really good rates right now. So, again, interest rates are low. Take advantage of what you can get today. And they're your home for your Jayco's RVs, your fifth wheels, your travel trailers, and, again, great financing rates going on over at Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service. And last but not least, we thank Taco John's, where today and every Tuesday, where it's been this way for the longest time, it's Taco Tuesday. You save a bunch, and you can load up on delicious tacos from Taco John's of Cheyenne. We get things underway with the scoreboard. He's kind of scoreboard-less, per se. Nick Perotti across the way. Our scoreboard is brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. Go ahead.
I got nothing because NHL is not in action tonight. They will be at least tomorrow, as it will be the start of the NHL playoffs. So nothing tonight. Local side with Cheyenne Extreme, no Post 6, no Cheyenne Mustangs. So again, nothing on the local side to pass along as well. So I got nada.
All thrown in my lap. So let's give you Major League Baseball scores. Looks like it's a final, as the Rays have doubled up the White Sox in Chicago 10-5. The Indians beat the Motor City Kitties of Detroit 8-2. And the Blue Jays of the Bo Sox in Boston, where Toronto defeats the Red Sox 7-5. Before we get out of here, Marlins and the Reds will be at Great American Ballpark around 4:40. 5 o'clock hour, the Athletics and the Orioles at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Nats and the Phils at Citizens Bank Park in Philly. Twins and the Mets at Citi Field in New York. Dodgers, Cardinals, also in the 5 o'clock hour at Busch. 6 o'clock, we'll have the Yankees at the Astros at Minute Maid. M's and the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. 6:40, it will be the Bravos and the Rocks at Coors Field. It will be Germán Marquez, who has that nice contract. He'll be going up against Max Fried. Both are 1-0 this season. The Rangers and the Diamondbacks at Chase Field. Padres, Giants will hook up at Oracle Park. And it will be the Halos, the Los Angeles Angels, hosting the Milwaukee Brewers at Angel Stadium of Anaheim. To the NBA. Holy cow, I almost blew that off. Again, a lot of games going on here as we're getting ready to wrap up the regular season.
You said the scoreboard yesterday for whatever reason when it was today.
I know. Just,
Sure.
I read it wrong. My bad. Hornets at the Cavaliers. Grizz at the Pistons. Again, these are all kind of shrug your shoulders until I get down towards the end. It would be the Celtics and the Wizards, 76ers at the Heat, Knicks at the Bulls, Raptors and Timberwolves, Warriors and Pelicans. Warriors already wrapping up the number 1 seed. We talked about that yesterday. Suns at the Mavericks. Now it gets a little dicey. They got a half-game lead. It's the Nuggets taking on the Jazz of the Vivint Smart Home Arena. This is for the number 2 seed. Rockets will be on the road. They're at the Thunder. They're a half game behind the Nuggets. And then it's the Trailblazers and the Lakers. Shrug my shoulders at Staples. Scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
This is the Pepsi that's got a date with your taste buds. We're talking 1,000 bubbles dancing a two-step with you and 2 tacos at 2 a.m.
Order number 83. Come on, you're up.
This is the Pepsi that has mastered the art of the late-night munchies and is always down to dig into some deep dish.
Hey, we don't do deep dish, capiche?
Try telling that to Chicago. This is the Pepsi for po' boys, pulled pork sliders, and the godfather of all sandwiches, the Godfather. This is the Pepsi for street carts, anything a la carte, and is dying to make the leap into your grocery cart. Come on, take us home with you. This is the Pepsi for those who are forever fun. This is the Pepsi for every generation.
Got something to say? Then get it off your chest right now. Phone lines are open at 307-514-1071. Make your opinion count and call the show. Wyoming Sports Talk today.
Here it is, April 9th, and what are we now? 2+ weeks away from the National Football League draft. And
so we got more important things before then. Namesake of NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. But how about what happened last night to talk? Who cares about the NFL?
Well, but this also will lead me into the XFL, also into the news as well today.
All right.
So
I'm just saying, there's more important things than those two entities.
We'll get into the championship game.
I was going to say, we had a first last night.
We'll get into the championship game here. You can tell how excited I am about it, but we'll talk about it.
You didn't even watch it.
I didn't. I didn't care. I did not have a dog in the fight. Did not care. So anyway, the XFL, which is ready to start here in 2020.
It's not going to have any spring competition now.
No, and we tell you that other league was going to fold. I mean, we just
knew it was. That's stupidity on the NFL. Again, that's an NFL-owned spring league. That was the developmental league of the NFL. That tells you how inept the NFL is. Where, again, the mantra, the meme about the AAF of what happened was, hey, can we get some of your lesser players to develop with us? And the NFL just basically said outright of going, no. You find your own players, we'll have our own, and they'll be a part of the practice squads and blah, 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 and you can live with the consequences. Well, the consequences is that the AAF, it didn't even last a season. It's gone.
It didn't even make 5 weeks.
But that's not an independent. Here's the difference between the XFL and the AAF is the AAF was NFL sponsored. That was your NFL Europe. That was your developmental league created by the NFL.
And now they're asking the NFL for more help. The NFL is kind of like, no.
Yeah.
They basically
that tells you how much. That tells you how stupid the NFL is. That tells you how inept the NFL is, and that tells you how much again where they go. We tried. Who cares?
But the XFL has
and it puts up big middle fingers to for instance, Salt Lake, San Diego, again Birmingham. Some of these communities that they went out and said, hey, we'll bring you semi-pro football, or at least kind of a developmental,
AAA,
something like that. But again, brings it to these communities that don't have that opportunity. Hey, you could see former NFL stars or developing NFL players, around the country, and the NFL just went, who cares?
All right, so here's what the XFL has got in the works, and tell me again, wanting to be different than the National Football League, XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck. Said this week that on this podcast that the league plans to use a 3-tiered extra point system after touchdowns and a 2-point conversion shootout in overtime when it launches in 2020.
So that's different.
So Luck discussed the plans when asked how the XFL plans to differentiate itself from the NFL, and makes sense. On the extra points, team can choose. Here's what the teams can do. They could choose whether to go for a 1-point conversion from the 2-yard line.
All right.
Now you back them up to, the 30 or something to kick the extra point, right? It's like 33-yard, whatever.
I forget what the new rule is.
You can get a 2-point try from the 5.
All right.
Or a 3-point attempt from the 10-yard line.
All right.
So basically, you can get a 9-point touchdown.
That's something different. And it gives you that option. Hey, do I have an issue with that? Not really.
Well, and here's now again when you're sitting here and you're going, gee, 9 points. Here's the logic behind it. As Luck says, we think that's valuable because teams that historically are down by, let's say, 3 scores, well, guess what? If it's a 16 or 17-point differential, you're really looking at a 2-score game theoretically.
If they convert on that 3, get the 9 points in total. Yeah, I mean, it is something where the XFL is trying to revolutionize football.
They want to keep everybody competitive.
Well, they want to keep everyone competitive. They want it, again, good contest. They want it fast as well, too. Again, keyword is innovative, and I think the XFL has proven enough. And again, I've already bought into it. I am looking forward to 2020 when this does happen. Again, where it's supposed to kick off after the Super Bowl of 2020. We'll see what happens, but I think the XFL is in a great position right now where you see, again, you can't equate the two, or you can't put the parallels between what the XFL is going to run into and the AAF. The AAF is not pro football. It was owned by the NFL. It was, again, just slapped together by the NFL, and they did whatever it was.
The XFL's overtime rules are currently being tested in the spring league, in the former spring league. Luck said each team will have 5 opportunities.
I don't think they're actually doing it in the AAF. Well, they're actually doing it with JUCO teams down of the South.
But what they're saying is Luck said each team will have 5 opportunities to convert a 2-point conversion in the overtime session instead of going 15-minute overtime.
Where it can end in a ridiculous tie.
Or, if the first team that scores a touchdown, you don't even get a chance to touch the ball.
Which is a stupid rule as well, too, for the NFL.
And the defense would score 1 point with a turnover. 44 players will be on the field at the same time in the overtime session, with both teams' offenses and defenses on opposite ends of the field.
All right.
That's interesting. So, Luck said the XFL wants games to have a 3-hour time limit, and the overtime system could be completed in 4 or 5 minutes, ensuring that even games that go into overtime would end in 3 hours.
They broke down the clocks as well, too, again, of where it was just a constant. I think they were looking at where it was a consistently moving clock, kind of what we see with soccer, where it doesn't end, whether at least timeouts would adjust for that and other entities, but it was at least what they're thinking about is a full 15 minutes that just keeps running. It does not stop after a play. It just runs and runs and runs, where they're trying to quicken the pace of at least for football, and we'll see what happens. Again, it's still...
We didn't like the running clock, remember that?
What do you mean?
We're not a fan of the running clock.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's what you're talking about, a running clock, right?
What about it?
Well, when we were doing high school games, we don't like running clocks in high school games, do we?
All right, if you're trying to make a joke, you're just dumb. But either way, though, again, a running clock, though, it's a lot better where, hey, it's running no matter what the score is. If it's a tie game, it's still running. But that's what they've tossed around. But the XFL, hey, more power to them. Hopefully it does exceed, and hopefully it does put some pressure on the NFL to change and alter their style of football, and also to alleviate this league of so many rules, so many just complications that it's. I feel like with new rules and the different, at least the addition to the XFL of what they're trying to change the game of football, or at least trying to just make it at the core of just playing the game and not making it too overly complicated. It sounds like it right now. It sounds like the XFL has less alterations than what the NFL has, and less penalties, less rules, a lot less complication than what the NFL has. But again, 2020, we'll see what happens.
I'm kind of curious too who the officials will be, because again, I do believe the NFL officials are under contract to the National Football League. I don't think they can go and do
unless they break contract, or if they who knows. Who knows what's going to happen?
But it's going to be interesting.
Who knows if NFL players will jump ship and go over and play for the XFL if they offer something? Who knows right now? Again, it is so up in the air. Why we're discussing this? Because
we're a year away, and it's going to be here before you know it. I mean, this is how fast time goes. So the XFL, again, right now, as we're a couple of weeks away from the draft, the XFL is saying, "Hey, here's what we're going to do."
Well, that's what they've been doing for the past year and a half, it feels like now, of saying, hey, this is what we're all about. This is what we're doing. This is what our findings are. Again, they're not rushing this thing. They are clearly putting their best minds to it and evaluating and seeing what is going to work and what is going to get fans to watch this product.
And this reminds me a lot, and I had to look at the history because I was only 3 at the time. When the AFL was going up against the upstart NFL back in the day. I mean, it was like, here's this brand new AFL league, and they need to get, college football players. And they were saying, hey, come to Dallas. That's when, Lamar Hunt had the Dallas team, and the Raiders were, fighting in San Diego or the Los Angeles. Come on out and play with us. Don't play in the National Football League. We offer this brand of football. And right now, before the draft, the XFL is saying, hey, to this class, listen to us. We may offer you something that's a lot more, more fun.
It's nice said more than, what's really going to happen, again, where you can try to, court this draft class on over to say, hey, don't go to the NFL, instead come play for the XFL. That's good in theory, but right now where we haven't even played a down yet. We haven't even seen an exhibition game. We don't know what this league is going to be about and how it's going to operate in full. And I think for those entering the NFL draft right now, I think that's too drastic of a move, or at least too drastic of a thought process to go, well, I'll weigh my options, or, okay, I might think of the XFL. It probably wouldn't be smart right now where, again, you don't know what to expect. As much as I think it can survive and thrive, again, on a financial and also, too, again, of a career standpoint, it's probably best that they focus on the NFL draft where, hey, it's inexistent, but it is a guarantee.
The XFL, pretty soon you rip Vince McMahon from the threshold there, and then again with your teams that you have based in the various cities, then you start building your team. Hey, we have this guy and we have that guy. Again, you start building your fan bases around the franchise players, so to speak. We do need to take a timeout. We'll come back. It was NCAA championship night last night, Virginia and Texas Tech, and yes, it did deliver. We're back after these words.
At Platte Valley Bank, we understand that you have a busy life, and that means you don't always have time to come to the bank. That's why we offer user-friendly online and mobile banking with features such as bill pay, recurring transfers, and mobile deposit, so you can bank how you want when you want to. Whether you prefer to bank in person, over the phone, or online, Platte Valley Bank makes it easy to take care of your finances.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
You can count on Platte Valley Bank. Community banking for you.
Is excess weight affecting your health? Have you decided to do something about it? The Weight Management Program at Consultants in Surgery at Cheyenne Regional Medical Group can help improve the health and well-being of people who are overweight and struggling with diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, and sleep apnea. Why wait? The time is now. To see if weight loss surgery is right for you, call 307-632-1114 or visit CheyenneRegional.org/weight-loss.
Hi, this is Trooper Chesterman with the Wyoming Highway Patrol. Weather experts have predicted extreme blizzard conditions Wednesday through Thursday evening. We recommend that you stay at home, but if you must travel, be prepared to use alternate routes and ensure you carry essential items in your vehicle, such as a shovel and cold weather gear, along with food and water. Charge your cell phone before leaving the house, and if you get stuck, clear the area around your exhaust pipe. Call for help and stay with your vehicle until help arrives. Please check wyoroad.info for closures. Slow down, buckle up, and plan ahead.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. Our Super Radio buys heard only right here feature Jack Daniels, Old No. 7 Tennessee Whiskey, 1.75-liter bottle, $34.99. Captain Morgan Spiced Rum, 1.75-liter bottle, $19.99. And Miller High Life or High Life Light, 30-pack, 12-ounce cans, $19.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader.
Taco John's presents Olay the Day Pep Talks.
Good game, boys. You showed some real fight. Like when Wachowski put that hit on our own mascot. Solid work, son. Okay, Friday was for football, but Tuesday is for tacos. Taco Tuesday at Taco John's. It's a sacred holiday where we eat tacos repeatedly until I get full.
Save big every Taco Tuesday with crispy beef tacos for just 99 cents.
Get some rest, boys, because come Taco Tuesday, we olay the day.
Olay the day at Taco John's.
Cheyenne's oldest coin dealer and supplier, the Coin Shop, is proud to serve the community since 1982. Trade or sell your gold, silver, and other precious metals. Visit with David and the knowledgeable staff for a fair and honest assessment of your valuables. Located at 510 West Lincoln Way. Call them today at 778-7196 to schedule your personal consultation.
We're starting our 14th year and we still believe in putting you first by making it easy to own a new Kia vehicle. I'm AJ Miller for Kia of Cheyenne, and right now, we can help get you into a new 2019 Kia Sportage for less than Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, or Ford Escape. The 2019 Kia Sportage comes standard with power adjustable rear view mirrors, rear camera display, remote keyless entry, and more. Come into Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123 or go to kiaofcheyenne.com. We'll make it easy.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be partly sunny with highs around 71 and winds out of the south at 10 to 15. For tonight, it'll be mostly cloudy with snow likely with lows around 35 and winds out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. On Wednesday, it'll be cloudy with snow likely with highs around 38 and winds out of the north at 15 to 20 miles per hour. And on Wednesday night, it'll be cloudy once again with snow likely with lows around 19 and winds out of the north at 25 to 30 miles per hour.
Here the season never ends. From Wyoming sports to the Broncos in Denver. From Rockies baseball to talking hoops with Nuggets basketball. Local, regional, and national. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Well, Last night, two teams were vying for their first NCAA championship, so something had to give. But I'll tell you what, they gave the fans, especially in Minneapolis and probably a nationwide audience, more than they bargained for. I mean, overtime. One of those rarities.
Well, and another Virginia come from behind, and at least in the last seconds where they were down by, 3? I think it was down 6.
They almost gave it away last night,
Yeah, again, all credit to Texas Tech. I thought they were the better team, and they kind of proved it. It was a defensive grind. I think 31-28 at halftime, very low scoring there at half. But give credit to both teams. But right now for Virginia, yes, they are your national champions. Their first national championship in men's basketball in school's history. But you look at what happened to them last year, again, the early exit against where we saw with UMCB, or at least UMBC, where they lost to a 16 seed for the first time ever. Again, number one upset by a 16 seed.
They had to live with that for a whole year.
Well, and I wonder if where we toss out the word Cinderella teams, and was it really a Cinderella team? We try to pick out whether it was Oregon or if it was, for me, going to be UC Irvine, or I said, hey,
or Auburn.
Or Texas Tech could be at least in there. But I think where you look at what happened last year and what Virginia kind of dealt with after, again, the end of that tournament, heading into this tournament, where I didn't expect this team to be hoisting the championship. I didn't think Virginia ever would have been at least national championship because, again, it's a program that just finds a way to shoot themselves in the foot. But the term Cinderella for Virginia, is it something fair to put on this team where I doubt it felt like for Virginia, there had to be very rare folks that were all aboard on Virginia, whether, those out there, a part of that campus or true diehard Cavalier fans. But I think outside of the rest of the nation, no one had them winning this championship because you just couldn't have any faith. But I think the big question is, can you deem Virginia a number one seed? Were they the true Cinderella team of this tournament? Where, again, I had them exiting. I had them exiting after the Sweet 16.
There was really no one giving them respect.
Yeah,
again, some cases, yes, there were some folks that.
And it was a team that had to prove itself.
But Duke, North Carolina, had more respect than Virginia did, and I won't say
Gonzaga as well too. Tennessee,
but you knew Gonzaga was going to go bye. Actually, Tennessee, I think everybody had Tennessee beating Virginia and calling it good. But the thing here, it's interesting with the Cavaliers as they win 85-77 in OT. It was a 32-29 halftime, so you're pretty close on the score. Vegas has already installed them as the favorites to repeat next year.
Well, I think that's fair.
Is DeAndre Hunter coming back? I mean, the guy is NBA ready.
You never know.
He's only a sophomore.
But could he have that early exit and take advantage of where, hey, I've hit that pinnacle here in NCAA basketball. All right, I'm young enough, I'm talented enough. I think, again, where you get those draft board estimates.
He'll be a lottery pick, I would venture to say.
Yeah, and I think a high one. I think somewhere maybe mid-first round. Who knows what his agent, I wouldn't doubt he's already probably got an agent or he's talked with folks and got an estimate of where he would land potentially in the NBA draft. And would it surprise me that he exits after the season, after it's all said and done, and says, yeah, I'm going to declare myself? No. Is it probably best for him? Yeah, I would think so. Again, you've won your national championship. You've been spotlighted.
There's no more hills to climb.
Absolutely, and I think you've hit that pinnacle in college basketball. Why run the risk of where we looked at Duke with Zion, where he ran into the injury, where it was kind of, oh no, is this the end of his career? Is it now the end of Zion, and did his draft stock lower because of this? I think we're in my mind there. Hey, maybe it's time to go in the NBA. Make a name for yourself and get that guaranteed money that you're going to.
Be a high lottery pick. It's interesting too because Hunter last night, reading all the accounts of the game, was basically a no-show for about the first half, 18 and a half minutes.
A lot of players were though. Again,
and he ended up finishing with the game high 27 points.
Yeah.
That tells you how studly this guy is on the floor.
But talk about a true turnaround, though, where, again, the embarrassment that was last season, last NCAA tournament for Virginia to get upset by UMBC and again, be the laughingstock, the butt of jokes for however long for this entire year. No one believing him. And again, I'm right there front and center where seeing this end result where Virginia's the national championship, I never thought I didn't even give a glance, a batting eye to this. I didn't think Virginia had enough tools and talent to even get to this point, let alone be national champions. So it is, in my opinion, I think Virginia was the true Cinderella team where you had a feel. It had a feeling where it was them versus the rest of the world. Where I highly doubt that Virginia was selected on many brackets to win the national championship, compared to where you do have the existence of Duke as a number 1 seed, North Carolina as a 1 seed, Tennessee, who was favored at the beginning of the season to be the national champion, even the Zags out of Spokane, Texas Tech, Michigan State, a lot of big powerhouse teams. Virginia had to sneak under the radar, and in my opinion, I think Virginia, even as a 1 seed, was the Cinderella story of this NCAA tournament, and not just for what they did, or at least the end result of what we saw last night, but you look at how many times they had to come back, in I think, in 3 different games they had to come back to win those contests. Like, we're talking late second comebacks to win.
Charges, yeah. Well, again, too, what we saw last night on the floor, what most of you saw last night on the floor, and a couple of high-profile NBAers. I mean, a couple of future NBAs. They're going to do well. Hunter's going to do well in the NBA.
No.
And Jarrett Culver for the Red Raiders. I think he's going to go.
He is a big name.
He's going to be a good lottery pick.
Yeah. I think for Texas Tech, you're not going to have a whole lot of entities go high round in the NBA draft. He's going to probably be your only one.
Yeah, well, like I said, a couple of them were and they deliver. See, the thing is, when you get into these games and you got those big names.
Yeah.
And it even happens in college football. Sometimes, the guy wins the Heisman Trophy, he's a bust during the national championship game. But these guys last night in the championship game, they delivered.
Yeah.
And whoever is going to be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 in the NBA draft coming up in June, they're going to be wrapping up on one of these guys here.
Tying this all back to here, the state of Wyoming, with the University of Wyoming, where at least our understanding was one Coach Allen Edwards, who was in attendance for both the Final Four and also to the national championship. You wonder, hopefully he did have some takeaways from this of saying, all right, here's how we build up a championship, or at least here's some styles to take away to bring to the Wyoming Cowboys for next season, where, again, changes need to be made. Offense needs to be revamped. Players, or at least personnel, needs to be changed a bit. Philosophies need to be implemented.
Well, the one takeaway is defense.
Because, again, right now, after what happened last night, here it is, day one. This is day one of the offseason. For every NCAA, at least for all Division I NCAA teams, this is day one of the offseason.
The season's over, yeah. But the takeaway is Texas Tech. They made a living by being defense.
Yeah.
I mean, they only gave up 68 points in the championship.
And that's how they've made a living this entire season. And again, where they floated on the radar in the Big 12, where I told you, hey, this is a team to watch out for. Guess what? They got to the point where I thought they were going to be, again, where they actually lost the national championship as I thought they would too. But defense, you go back to that old adage for football, defense wins championships. Same could be said for basketball as well, too. And again, Texas Tech kind of proved that a little bit of what they did this run in the NCAA tournament of taking these high-powered offenses and slowing them down.
But, you look back before he departed, Larry Shyatt was very high on defense. He wanted low-scoring games.
Well, you compare that with Allen Edwards of recent philosophies is this team's trying to go Golden State out here in Laramie, Wyoming. They're trying to be the splash team of the West, where it's not working. You don't have, again, nothing against the players right now, but they're not hitting those shots. They are not sinking like Steph Curry. They're not sinking, or at least sinking those shots like Klay Thompson. You got to realize that they're not those NBA.
Well, for every 2 that we hit, the opponents are hitting 4 and 5.
Oh, yeah.
In return. So, yeah, our defense definitely has to be retooled. And, I mean, it's broken. I mean, the defense is broken for the Cowboys. If you don't think so, then you haven't watched the Cowboy game.
Yeah, go watch them. Where again after this last season, defense was absolutely pathetic.
Offensively, you got problems.
Offensively is an issue as well too. And right now, for Coach Allen Edwards, and again have outreach to hopefully talk with him either this week or next week. Again, we're still waiting on you, Coach Allen Edwards, but hopefully we will be able to talk with him again about what happened this past season and look forward to at least 2019-2020 basketball.
And we've talked to a lot of these coaches, and again, we're not going to sit there and pick him apart. He's going to put a positive spin on everything. But he made one very good point last year. With all of these kids he brought in from the prep schools.
Yeah.
And I never forget what he said to us. He said, they all know how to score, but they can't play defense. Well, here's the first thing that he needs to do is put the three-point line away for these kids because they weren't good offensively. The kids he brought in were not good. Even Trace Young, who ended up leaving.
Yeah.
Okay? First thing that needs to be taught to these
guys.
First
player of the season of possibly a few more.
First thing that needs to be taught to these guys is how to play D. Whether you play, a zone or whether you play man-on-man, you better be good at defense.
And that's something we can talk here on the local side with LCCC and Jason Ficka.
I know, but how many times did you see last year, especially in games that were televised or even online, how many times did you see open shots by the opposition? Because the defense was on a milk carton. And again, you go back to I have to always go back to the CSU game.
It sounds more like it, and again, we're coaching philosophies or at least styles are going in the way of, hey, we'll test your three-point at least percentage. We'll see if you can hit those, and we're banking on that. You're going to miss it more than you are going to make those shots. So hey, we'll give you that wide open look. We'll put at least our boys there on the inside to get those rebounds, and then at least transition and get those points off of your missed opportunity. And I think it's a wrong philosophy. It's a wrong mentality right now to go in, especially if you are the Wyoming Cowboys, where you're struggling on the offensive side, where you can't even cash in on those missed opportunities. But also, too, these teams, when they are having those wide open shots, more than not, they're making them. They're making it on you.
You brought up LCCC. LCCC could get by that this year because they had a 7'1" guy underneath. And they had their 6'10" guy sitting outside beyond the arc. Well, the Cowboys had their 6'11" guy sitting outside the arc and expecting the smaller guys inside to do all the boarding. How many one-and-dones did the Cowboys have this season? A ton. A ton of one-and-dones. Now, with your 6'11" guy, either you put some bulk on this kid and you make him a 4, or, even if you put him in the middle, I don't know if you could put that much bulk on him.
No, not to be a 5 where you're competing against, again, if we look in dissect of what the Mountain West is going to be like next year, which, again, we have plenty of time and understand of who's going to be moving in, moving out from these respective programs here in the Mountain West. But, again, the team that's going to, clearly take the top or at least get most looks right now is going to be Utah State and the Aggies. Nevada's definitely going to take a step back where you're losing the Twins.
Musselman already left.
Yeah, well, again, where Utah State, hey, that team likes the muscle inside. They like to at least they're a full complement team, offense and defense. They're gonna beat you on the inside from the outside. They're gonna get those offense and defense rebounds. That is the pinnacle team. That is the team to spotlight. That is the team to try and say, hey, let's be like them. But for the Wyoming Cowboys, you look at what they need to do. Again, you need to flush everything from this past season and start anew. Whether it's recruiting, whether it's play style, whether it's the playbook, whether it is, again, changing from a three-point mentality team to basically being, hey, let's drive inside, get points in the paint, let's be aggressive there, and focus on our defense to make sure that they are not getting those open looks on the outside and make them force it on the inside.
And if you missed out, Musselman has been hired by Arkansas.
Yeah.
He's gone. So I don't expect the Wolfpack to be diddly next year.
No.
So, yeah, you're right. It's going to be Utah State And
I think Utah State is going to be at the top right now.
San Diego, I think San Diego State's going to rebound back.
I would put UNLV up there, a team that could be transitioning. They're a team that is moving northward.
I'd put New Mexico ahead of UNLV.
Yeah, possibly.
They're really young.
Who knows what's going to happen with CSU and Medved? Do they take a significant turnaround? I don't see it. But you never know with the Rams. Air Force is a team that's trying to improve, but they are just not known as that basketball powerhouse. San Jose State, yeah, you don't have to worry about them. Boise State
is Boise State.
Boise State is a team.
They're going to be 500 no matter what.
Boise State's that team where you don't know what to expect, where we've seen good Bronco teams, and we've seen them where, yeah, they are kind of that middle of the pack. You don't know what's going to show up for next season, if they will be that competitive outfit or if they're going to just kind of stand pat and just be average. But I think if you look at the top of the Mountain West, Utah State's definitely there. New Mexico, possibly. I think they're on the same vein of UNLV, where there might be, a year or so away from getting back to that pinnacle, at least that reach. But I think where you said San Diego State, absolutely. I think State, at least with the Aztecs, they proved a lot this year. They proved that they are improving along with UNLV and New Mexico to get back into that upper echelon, that respective basketball powerhouse that they've been in the past. And they showed great strides this season where they got quality wins.
Well, this is the second, correct me if I'm wrong, this was the second season without Fisher at the helm.
Yeah.
So, again, going through that shock phase of Fisher not being there, and all of a sudden now it's rebuilding. But again, it's the same thing like Chiat leaving and Edwards taking over.
I'm just saying with San Diego State, though, they are vastly improving. They're doing a lot quicker than where UNLV had to deal with, a coach firing, and they had to move on with different personnel. Transitioning from New Mexico. Nevada, that team, sorry, Wolfpack fans, for Nevada, it is going to be a rough one next year. That team is definitely in rebuild mode. There's no doubt about it. I think, again, where you lost Musselman, where he's going to Arkansas, and hey, that's a better paying job, clearly, again, being part of the SEC.
He knew what he had in the cupboard for next year.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, is he realized, hey, I'm not going to win. I have a better shot here with Arkansas. Let's get that where, again, I've got the guaranteed pay and guaranteed team. Nevada is clearly in a rebuild mode, and the Wolfpack, they're going to be floating down there with the CSUs of the world probably.
No, they're going to actually be down with Wyoming, San Jose State. Who else could be down there? Maybe Boise State next year. Possibly. I would think Boise State might be one of those teams in that third quadrant.
It just feels like it's teams right now as they're moving up. Utah State, San Diego State, UNLV, New Mexico. They're kind of moving up that ladder, again, one increment at a time, where they're just basically, Nevada's now falling down, everyone else move up a place. Utah State, I think after next season, they might fall down. We'll see what happens with that team, with the Aggies, and what personnel moves and how their recruiting goes. But Utah State, I think after this next season, they might fall under that curse of the Mountain West, so to speak, and where they might fall down the ladder, and here comes UNLV or San Diego State to take it back, at least the crown of the Mountain West. And it just has that feeling because, again, right now you saw what happened this season where Utah State and Nevada were those top teams, but on the outside looking in, San Diego State, UNLV, New Mexico, basketball powerhouses that were once in the Mountain West are making those strides to be back up there again.
And Utah State now making their mark. And the thing is, too, with Coach Edwards, I don't know really what he has left to offer out there as far as recruits. Yeah. And again, too, having the one, young leaving, I think a second departure that he had this season. Yeah. So, again, I don't know what he's looking for. He hasn't really been blunt. You can look
again,
for
hopefully we can get him on the show and he can be blunt.
Well, I know, but you look for everything. You look for a guard, you look for a forward, you look for a shooting forward, you look for a shooting guard, you look for a center.
I think the big question is what is your philosophy heading into the season of what is recruiting? What are you focusing on? Are you trying to build a team for the future? Are you trying to get these young players to build and just kind of get under that Allen Edwards system? Or are you trying to get in some college or at least JUCO products that are ready, that have gotten tested, across the nation, even here in Region 9 with Casper, Sheridan, or wherever he goes to? Or, again, is it going to be the same Wyoming Cowboys? Or is Allen Edwards going to feel the fire that's been under him and change things up?
I think he will. I think probably if there is
he has to. I mean, honestly, he has to.
A couple scholarships available, I think he's going to go for a 3-for-2 guy.
He has to.
I just believe that it has to happen. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We're going to come back. We got more Wyoming Sports Talk today here on 1480 KRAE. Join in for a festive evening of fun, food, and live auction in Cheyenne on Monday, May 6th at the historic Little Bear Inn, which is sponsoring the Love Never Forgets Gala to benefit the Wyoming chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. The event is being held to support the services provided on behalf of the nearly 30,000 Wyomingites affected by this relentless form of dementia. For more information, call the Alzheimer's chapter at 316-2892. That's 316-2892. Or visit First Tier Bank at 1508 Stillwater Avenue for your tickets. Remember, at First Tier Bank, you'll find the best rate on a 27-month CD with a 3.10% annual percentage yield.
You can actually get something good for your health at a drive-thru window. When you order your next prescription from Medicap Pharmacy, call ahead and use our drive-thru window. Or you can call for free delivery. You can even log on to Medicap.com and order a prescription refill. Your Medicap pharmacist will call you to make arrangements for pickup or delivery.
Medicap Pharmacy will always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
Right now it's time to head over to Jolly Rogers RV Sales, Parts, and Service for low prices on outstanding RVs in Wyoming. Your local, exclusive Jayco dealer wants you to check out their closeout deals as well as their 2019 inventory of trailers, fifth wheels, and toy haulers. You can save up to 30% on select models with approved credit. You can find them at 6102 East Highway 30. Jolly Rogers RV Sales, Parts, and Service is a proud sponsor of LCCC men's and women's basketball, also our local high school teams too.
Capital Lumber is number one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is number one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Capital Lumber Company serving our area for over 53 years at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
For almost 60 years, 1480 KRAE has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY FM and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both KRAE and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures, makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Don Morris at 307-637-0301.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
For today, it'll be partly sunny with highs around 71 and winds out of the south at 10 to 15. For tonight, it'll be mostly cloudy with snow likely with lows around 35 and winds out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. On Wednesday, it'll be cloudy with snow likely with highs around 38 and winds out of the north at 15 to 20 miles per hour. And on Wednesday night, it'll be cloudy once again with snow likely with lows around 19 and winds out of the north at 25 to 30 miles per hour.
Tired of lazy and predictable sports talk radio? We know you are. This is Cheyenne's new sports radio home. It's Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
My all-time favorite Warriors, and again, there's been a lot of them that have passed through the San Francisco and Golden State Warrior outfit.
I don't know why we're saying on the Warriors, because again, there's other news that happen here at the same time.
Can I get to what I'm saying? Chris Mullen, one of my all-time favorite Warriors, he stepped down today as the men's basketball coach at St. John's. And sometimes being a player, you're great. He's one of the greatest of all time to don the uniform at St. John's, as well as one of the all-time greats at Golden State. Matter of fact, his brother Rod had died after a battle with cancer early in March. But Mullen took over for Steve Lavin. Could never get the Johnnies on the right track. 3 seasons, went 38-60. So never
could get the job done. Hey, some can, some can't.
Never finished above the Mendoza line. So he said, "You know what? Time for me to step aside." And so he
probably the smartest thing to do. Either way, though, again, you brought that up for whatever reason, but sticking at least with the Wyoming Cowboys, again, something that you probably have seen, hopefully you saw, again, where we move away from basketball, it is we are right now in spring.
Football.
Yeah, we are in spring camp right now with the University of Wyoming. Again, Coach Craig Bull out there going into his 6th season after a 6-6 at least finish for last year. Again, we talk about the defections in basketball. Well, we already saw. We're seeing a few so far, or at least we had one recently for the Wyoming Cowboys. That'd be one running back Bigelow, at least leaving the program. That was announced. Coach Craig Bull had comments on that. But right now, again, what it was at least around, again, what was the full details, again, we don't know. Could be family issue, could be just transferring to another school, could be for option for another degree that the university does not have. Who knows at this point? But for Javon Bigelow, again, one piece that is now moving on for the Wyoming Cowboys, where again,
and he was going to be one of the centerpieces of the backfield.
Absolutely. Again, we saw him have bursts there last season. He's going to be a missed piece for the Wyoming Cowboys, but right now, again, an offense that is already hurting, an offense that has many question marks, an offense, at least an offensive line heading into spring camp, or at least dealing with spring camp right now, has a lot of injuries. There's a lot of question marks, a lot of personnel that is missing so far.
And you're going to go with the option quarterback. I would venture to say that Sean Chambers is going to be your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the next season, and
he has to be again. Where
Vanderwall be in the bullpen.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Chambers could throw the football. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but that's not his forte. Basically, we're going to see a more run option type of program out of the Cowboys next year. So
is that something that the Cowboys need? Can they get wins with a run option where right now question marks are?
Air Force has made a living out of it. Why can't the Cowboys?
When's the last time Air Force has been at least successful in a season, or at least had a better, at least more than a barely above 500 season?
I'm just saying they've been that type of offense. The Scarlet Knights of Army are the same way. They're a run option team. So again, I'm not saying it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Teams will. I guarantee you, Nick. Teams will defense that very well.
Well, and here's the big question. Again, we'll lead up as we're still a few months away, at least 4 months from getting underway with Wyoming Cowboy football over there in Laramie, where you have question marks already here, where you have at least missing pieces right now from the offensive side, offensive line showing that it's already injured here going into spring camp. Defense, the biggest question mark of what is that defense going to look like. It is a young defense as well too, and right now
a lot of holes to fill.
Is this season for the Wyoming Cowboys on the football side of things? It shows right now. Here we are, 4 months away. It doesn't look like it's going to get any more pretty going forward. This might be another long season for the Wyoming Cowboys.
Again, I'm not going to sit here and go, hey, they're going to be 6-6, 2-10. I'm not going to say that right now in April. But
which is fair enough.
But we're out there listening to Coach Bull speak, and he'll speak high of his kids, and
he'll say that the cavalry's coming and all this other stuff.
But also too, he's going to be reminded that you were brought in to win Mountain West Conference championships, which you haven't done.
I think right now for Coach Craig Bull at this point,
6 years.
It is 6 years, and again, he has one of the worst winning percentages of the past 2 head coaches that have been a part of that program who have left after 5 and 6 seasons, whether it is, again, Joe Glenn or Dave Christensen. But you look into this season. This has got to be that magnifying year for Coach Craig Bull under that AD administration out there at the University of Wyoming, where could they afford a sub 500 or at least a non-bowl season once again for the Wyoming Cowboys?
Well, but
I don't think they can.
So far, Tom Berman doesn't have a lot of bad things to say about it. He kind of shot you down.
Well, he goes, "Hey, we were on a 4-game winning streak." Well, you beat nobodies for that 4.
And you had a rally to beat a very weak Air Force team.
Yeah, you beat on teams that, yes, you're supposed to beat. You were supposed to beat CSU. They were awful. You're supposed to beat San Jose State, but you struggled. You had your struggles. You were thankful enough to be 6-6 because you had a friendly 4-game schedule.
I mean, let's look at the Wofford Terriers. That game will always stick in my craw.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that was terrible. That was the worst. That was one of the worst performances I saw of a Wyoming Cowboy football team in years. It was awful.
And again, this is something we could talk about for a long time, or at least as we lead up into Cowboy football. But again, did want to pass along that, again, Javon Bigelow has left the program, will not be part of the Cowboys again. He at least the star. I thought a star running back for the Cowboys. He had great.
He was a star.
He had great minutes. He was a fantastic running back, and again, will be missed drastically for that Cowboy offense. But is it something where? Is it a sign to come for the Cowboys? Is it something where we look at Cowboy basketball is it a sign to come where we saw Trace Young move on that others are going to
I don't know.
Suit?
That will be something that happens at the end of the school year, maybe after spring ball. That's usually when movement will take place. So
my expectations for the Cowboys, at least for football side, are very low.
Well,
this team right now, again, you look at their schedule, what they're retaining back, how many pieces they did lose, especially on that defense that kept them in ball games last year. This team, it might flirt with 500, but it's probably not going to get to 500.
Well, and again, I'm not even going to venture to even think what they're going to do. But the thing is, defenses are going to clamp down. And again, they're going to look at film from last year, especially with Chambers in there, and they're going to see the guy doesn't like to throw. I mean,
you're going to spotlight him every single time,
and he's going to throw out of necessity. Kaepernick. I go back to Colin Kaepernick with the 49ers, where he had that same type of mentality when he was with the 49ers. It worked good for a couple of seasons. Then defenses started clamping down. Same thing with Russell Wilson. But the ace in their pocket was they could throw the football. And they could throw it with authority.
And Chambers has not been that.
We didn't even get a good litmus test on what he could throw.
You need a combination where you would have Vanderwall's arm to go on Sean Chambers' legs. Then you'd have that premier quarterback. And it might happen this year. I think, is that something that the Cowboys look into, at least for this football season, of do you do quarterback by committee? Do you go, hey, could you do that of trying to keep defenses on their heels or toes, so to speak, of, all right, Tyler, you're in for this.
Well, you're
going to
use the Wildcat offense too.
I really don't know, but I think right now, we talk about Cowboy basketball where they need to change philosophies. Football's in the same vein where you need to change things up. If we get the same Cowboy football, at least offense that you complained about that entire year, get it again where it's showing that it's having struggles, losing pieces so far here in spring. It's not going to be pretty. This is not going to be pretty.
And we'll get a good idea of how. Again, spring ball is what it is. We'll have things to talk about.
Well, you got one lineman that's looking like he's going to be out for the entire season.
I know, and that's not what we wanted to hear. All right, we do need to wrap things.